Thousands of protesters rallied outside as Georgia's new parliament opened its inaugural session, with opposition saying the ruling party rigged the recent vote. Romania's political landscape is reeling after a little-known far-right populist secured the first round in the presidential election. Ahead of snap elections in February, Olaf Scholz was confirmed as his party's candidate for the position of German Chancellor.
France's far-right leader Marine Le Pen is threatening the government with a confidence motion over next year's budget bill.
Thousands of protesters rallied outside the newly elected Georgian parliament as it opened its inaugural session, accusing the ruling Georgian Dream Party of rigging the vote. Opposition lawmakers and the country's ceremonial president refused to participate in the parliamentary activities.
საქართველოში ვიდრე ქართული ოცნება მყარად დგას, ვერ მოხდება გარე ძალების მიერ მართული. ცალფეხზე მდგომი ხალხი დაკომპლექტებული, ნაირ-ნაირი სახელებისა და სათაურების ქვეშ შექმნილი პარტიების თარეში. ამ არჩევნებზე ჩვენ დაუპირისპირდით სწორედ ასეთ, გარედან მართულ, კოორდინირებულ და ერთიან ძალისხმევას.
Observers said the country's recent election took place in an atmosphere marked by bribery, double voting and physical violence.
სახეზე გვაქვს კონსტიტუციური გადატრიალება და ხელისუფლების უზურპაცია. ჩვენ უკვე გამაცხადეთ, რომ უარს ვამბობთ მანდატებზე და სიასაც ჩავხსნით და ამ პროცედურულ ნაწილს ძალიან მალე გავივლით.
Georgia's president filed a constitutional lawsuit saying principles of voting secrecy and universality were violated.
საქართველოს კანონმდებლობის მიხედვით პარლამენტს არ შეუძლია ცნოს საკუთარი უფლებამოსილება თუ დეპუტატების მანდატი გასაჩივრებულია საკონსტიტუციო სასამართლოში. თუ დეპუტატების არჩევის კანონიერება გასაჩივრებულია საკონსტიტუციო სასამართლოში. ამ შემთხვევაში 150-ვე დეპუტატის არჩევის კანონიერებაზე მსჯელობს საკონსტიტუციო სასამართლო. აი ამის პარალელურად. ამიტომ ეს შეკრება არის უკანონო. პარლამენტის მიერ საკუთარი უფლებამოსილების დღევანდელი ცნობა არის უკანონო.
Critics accuse Georgian Dream of becoming increasingly authoritarian and tilting towards Moscow. Romania's political landscape is reeling after a little-known far-right populist secured the first round in the presidential election, going from an obscure candidate to beating the incumbent prime minister. Calin Georgescu, who ran independently, will face off against reformist Elena Lasconi in a runoff in 2 weeks. With just under 23% of the vote after nearly all ballots were counted, Georgescu was ahead. Most local surveys predicted he would win less than 10% of the vote. Lasconi, of the Progressive Save Romania Union Party, followed with just over 19%. She beat the incumbent Prime Minister, who resigned as leaders of the establishment PSD party following the first round results. The second round of the vote will be held on December the 8th.
At least 23 people have been injured in a Russian daytime attack on Kharkiv, according to its regional governor. The 8:30 a.m. attack targeted a central, densely populated residential area, said Kharkiv's mayor. Local authorities reported damaged residential houses as a result of the strike. The center of Odessa was also targeted by a Russian daytime attack, injuring at least 11 people. Ukraine's air defenses reported to have downed 50 of 73 Russian drones launched during overnight attacks, dozens of them targeting Zaporizhzhia. In Russia, Kursk's governor reported on his Telegram channel that air defenses destroyed 7 Ukrainian missiles overnight over the region. Russian forces captured a British mercenary named James Scott Rees, who was fighting with the Ukrainian army in Russia's Kursk region, a security source told Russian state news agency.
Olaf Scholz has been officially nominated by his Social Democratic Party as its candidate for German Chancellor, ahead of snap elections in February. Scholz is the current German Chancellor, but there were weeks of tense discussions within his party over whether he was the right person for the job. His ruling traffic light coalition, comprised of the Social Democratic Party, the Greens and the Liberal Free Democratic Party, collapsed earlier this month after he fired his finance minister. Lacking a parliamentary majority, Scholz agreed to hold a no-confidence vote in December, with general election set for the 23rd of February 2025. Some Social Democrats had rallied around German Defence Minister Boris Pistorius, who enjoys higher approval ratings as a replacement for Scholz. Pistorius said he wasn't available to run for Chancellor last week, paving the way for Scholz at the top of the party's ballot.
France's far-right leader Marine Le Pen warned she might topple France's minority government by the end of the year if the budget bill isn't changed, threatening a confidence motion. Le Pen said she expressed red lines, including a refusal to raise electricity taxes and the need to increase state pensions from January. Conservative Prime Minister Michel Barnier's cabinet is forced to rely on the far-right's goodwill to be able to stay in power. Barnier's cabinet is mostly composed of members of his Republicans Party and centrists from President Emmanuel Macron's alliance. The budget bill for next year must be passed by December 21st. Last month, the government survived a confidence vote brought by the left-wing coalition because the far-right group abstained from voting.
Pour soigner toujours plus de patients.
Homes and businesses have been flooded as Storm Bert continues to batter communities across the UK after passing over Ireland. Among the hardest hit areas were parts of Wales, where authorities issued over 40 flood warnings after floods were reported in several towns over the weekend. In a part of South Wales, people bailed out of their homes amid reports of landslides. Some residents expressed their frustration with the authorities.
A flood defence instead of a Harry Potter fence. Do your job, what we pay them money for.
As you can see, National Resources Wales have just replaced the railings back again. He doesn't do anything. As soon as he goes, it comes in through there again.
The Met Office described Storm Berth as a multi-hazard event with strong winds and heavy rain forecast for different parts of the country. Scientists believe that the rise in extreme weather events is linked to climate change. The Portuguese Navy says it has been recording an increasingly intense traffic of Russian ships off its coast. It says about 3 warships, 2 refueling vessels, 3 scientific research vessels and 1 spy vessel have passed through Portuguese waters in recent times.
Seja o acompanhamento quer de exercícios da NATO, quer dos próprios exercícios no âmbito dos países mais ou menos associados à Rússia, quer dos próprios exercícios da Rússia, implica que haja movimentações, e aqui nós estamos no Atlântico, e do Atlântico vão para o Báltico, e do Báltico também podem ir depois para o Ártico, ou diretamente daqui. Portanto, essa movimentação é normal.
According to the Portuguese Military History Commission, these moves stem from the current context of the war in Ukraine and are not only a demonstration of Russia's power. The Commission warns the presence of spy ships indicates the obtaining of communications. Authorities say they are ensuring that the Navy follows the flow of Russian ships with close vigilance, given Portugal's geopolitical position as a gateway to Europe.
A vigilância. Aquilo que o Sr. Almirante disse nas várias entrevistas, nós acompanhamos, nós vigiamos, escrutinamos, o que serve de dissuasão para qualquer tipo de movimento. E Portugal, obviamente, tendo uma extensão, tendo um mar com a dimensão que tem, quer da zona económica exclusiva, quer da plataforma continental, obviamente tem que fazer maior vigilância, faz parte das suas missões, quer para proteger a soberania e a integridade territorial, quer no âmbito do seu compromisso com as organizações internacionais, designadamente com a NATO.
The Navy says it has conducted about 126 monitoring missions in the past 3 years. In 2022, the year the Russian Federation invaded Ukraine, there were 14 such operations. The following year, this number tripled to 46. This year, 66 missions have been completed so far.
Παραδίδουμε στους πολίτες, μετά από πολλά χρόνια, την βασική γραμμή του μετρό στη Θεσσαλονίκη. Με 13 σταθμούς, με 9,6 χιλιόμετρα μήκος, με υπερσύγχρονα τρένα, με αυξημένα συστήματα ασφαλείας. Έτσι ώστε περίπου 250.000 συμπατριώτες μας κάθε μέρα να μεταφέρονται γρήγορα, με ασφάλεια και οικολογικά στη Θεσσαλονίκη. Ήταν ένα έργο το οποίο καθυστέρησε πολύ. Είναι ένα έργο το οποίο είχε και πάρα πολλές δυσκολίες και εμπόδια. Μεταξύ άλλων και κυρίως και πολλά αρχαιολογικά ευρήματα που ξεπερνούν τα 300.000. Πολλά εκ των οποίων εκτίθενται ήδη σε διάφορους σταθμούς της βασικής γραμμής.